welcome back to Eating in April's. Today I'm still on my journey with historical American foods, and I'm going to be making a book from this wonderful book, Dining with the Washingtons. And I've talked about this book before. They have recreated some of the foods that the Washingtons actually ate. And what I'm going to be cooking today is something else sweet. It's known as Lafayette Gingerbread. George Washington's mother is credited with coming up with this recipe, and they say that that she served it to the Marquis de Lafayette when he came to visit them. And they're dating this back to 1784, and I think it's pretty exciting. Now, this book's version did not call for any rising agents in the flour, and I think that if you're going to make a gingerbread cookie, you don't want any rising agents, but if you're going to make a ginger cake, you do. So I found some other references to the recipe online, and they called for cream of tartar and baking soda, so that's the only thing that I'm doing to deviate. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to read you the recipe first, and then we'll get started. You use a 9-inch square or round cake pan, buttered and floured, and then you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I've got that going on right now. Then the ingredients are a stick of unsalted butter softened, 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of packed dark brown sugar, 1 cup of molasses, a scant 2 3/4 cups sifted all-purpose flour. So what I did was with that is I put 2 3/4 cup in, and then I took a tablespoon out. A tablespoon ground ginger, a teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon ground cloves, 1/4 teaspoon ground allspice, 2 large eggs plus 2 large egg whites lightly beaten, 1/4 cup fresh orange juice, and 1 tablespoon finely grated orange zest. I'm going to talk a little bit once we get to the orange stuff and once we get to the eggs about how to process those, but as usual, when I do recipes, I have everything pretty much measured out. Okay, let's begin. The oven is preheated, the cake pan is ready, it's covered in butter, and it's floured. Okay, so now the next thing we do, we're going to take the butter and the brown sugar, and you see I've got them nicely packed. You see the 1/2 cup here and then the 2 tablespoons here. That's how you want them packed, like your sand castles, so that when you put that in there, they're firm, but they're also soft, so you break them apart before you mix it up. And this is the point that I'm going to adjust the screen so that you can see what I'm doing over here. There we go. You can see what a mess I have, but it's a creative mess. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is blend this together. There we go. Blend this together nice and loud. See how this is coming together? Okay. You might ask yourself why I chose such a large bowl for such a small cake. The answer is I was too lazy to do dishes, and this one was clean. Okay, next for the molasses, we're going to add the molasses. Now, I was down to the bottom of the jar, so I had to heat it to get the last little bit out. Oh, look at how nice and thick that is. Okay. Heated it for about 20 seconds. Oh my goodness gracious. Now, some of the recipes that I saw online called for not only molasses and brown sugar, but also honey. That sounds like a lot of sugar to me. So I'm just going to stick with these two, and if this cake doesn't turn out good, I'll try the other recipes. In the meantime, here's this. Okay. Get that out of our way. Then we blend this together. See us? Watch here. See that? See how nicely? Molasses makes your cakes really, really rich and nice and thick. The last molasses cake that I made, we could not stop eating it. I wound up, I did wind up putting a cream cheese frosting on it, but then we also put whipped cream on the side. That was really good. This does not call for that type of a topping. This calls for something referred to as fairy butter, which is butter, orange flower, water, a little bit of sugar, and egg yolks. I'll show you how to make that later. Okay, after we have put in the molasses, we're going to put in the flour and the spices, which I have over here. Got my flour measured into here. Got the spices here. All those beautiful spices to make it taste really amazing. And then here are my rising agents. I have a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of cream of tartar, which the recipe doesn't call for, but I'm putting it in because I think everybody's human. We all do misprints. I've gone through cookbooks that have had misprints before. It's okay. I've baked enough cakes. I caught it. We put that in there. Now I'm going to show you a method that I don't always use just because I'm kind of lazy. But you can use this. See, we've got all these things in there together right now. And I'm just going to whisk this through here very gently so that I don't spill it, to combine them a little bit before I put them in with the wet ingredients. That's good enough for me. And now I can stir it a little bit harder. There we go. Okay, so we put all that in there. Now you're supposed to alternately put the flour in with the egg mixture, and I'm going to put them all in together because I always do it. It works well to me. But what I wanted to show you was how to separate an egg. There's a few different ways to do it. I'm going to show you how I do it. I just crack the egg and very carefully open it. If you get a little eggshell in there, that's okay. You can pick it out. Okay? Now you see I'm taking the eggshell apart in two pieces, and the yolk is still in the cup. What I'm going to do is, without busting the egg, just push it from half to half like that so that all the white runs off. There we go. Now, say you accidentally drop the yolk in there anyways. Just pull it out with a spoon. Okay? And you can take it from spoon to spoon until you get all the white off it. You see it's wanting to cling? And it came right off. But that's what we're going to use. And now this has to be lightly beaten. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm just going to use a spoon. I just want to incorporate it a little bit. Okay, so we've used 2 whole eggs and 2 egg whites. There's that. Now, if it makes you feel more comfortable to do this a little bit at a time, that's okay too. So now you see we have the molasses mixture with the dry mixture with the eggs. And like I always do, I just mix it up a little bit so that it doesn't explode in my face. But I have another dirty little trick that I use. The hand towel will wash up just fine. I do my initial mixing like this. So if any dust from the flour gets on there, it'll hit the towel. Voila! It's mixed in pretty good. Okay, now the rest. There we go. Oh, this is smelling amazing. Turn it on high. Make sure to scrape down the sides while you're doing this. There we go. Okay. Now this calls for our orange juice and zest together. The way I zest my oranges, you get one of these handy dandy things that you can get at most any grocery store or dollar store, and I use this size. And I just rake the orange across that, and the zest comes out of here. I do it onto a cutting board. And the way that I juice my oranges is I just slice them in half, and I put them in here, and I squeeze the life out of them. Now, I saved this so you can see this is what, you don't want the white part that's from the orange and the zest. You just want the orange skin itself. You can see the difference, see? And then this is this once it's been squeezed. And here's a dirty little trick. You can still eat this as a sneak snack while you're cooking. Delicious. Okay, so these are two indispensable tools. You can put store-bought orange juice in this, but you don't want that because the flavor is not going to be as fresh. Okay, so we'll put this orange over here. Now, since the juice and zest go in together, I just threw them in there together. See that there? I called for a tablespoon of the zest and a quarter cup of the orange, and it just so happened that was exactly how much the orange had. Believe it or not. Here we go. Oh, this is smelling so good. You continue beating until the batter is smooth and light. It's turned all the way up high. Just going to fully incorporate this. I think that's good enough. Okay, now I'm going to do a batter tasting. If there is a heaven and it tastes like something, this right here is what it tastes like. Let me tell you that right now. Okay, now it's time to scrape that beautiful thing into here. I always use, just grab a wooden spoon to do that with. That's the easiest for me. Now, remember, I'm taking a little bit of a gamble adding the leavening agent to this because the recipe in the cookbook did not call for it. And I did not take the time to check and see what size cake pan the other recipes called for. So perhaps they were doing an unleavened cake, and I just didn't pay attention to that. But I don't know, but I think so. Okay, this bakes for 35 to 45 minutes, and I always bake it for the least amount of time and check it. So into the oven, preheated this goes. Okay. While that is cooking, I'm going to make the fairy butter, which you ice this with. So I'm going to wipe these off real quick. Now you see how quickly I got those cleaned? for the people who say they don't have time to do dishes, I know better. Okay. We're going to switch to the other page. Fairy butter. This is a simple dessert sauce that you can use on all kinds of things. Orange blossom water is the flavoring that this calls for, and I have never used it before, but this sounded really delicious. And when I opened this up to smell it, it smelled... This smells like oranges, but it also doesn't. It smells kind of perfumey. This is an extract of the orange flower, and then they've just put a little bit of caramel food coloring in this. I guess some people like that. I bought this, the brand is Zayed, and I bought this at my local Middle Eastern market called Salam. I've been shopping at Salam on 161 and Cleveland Avenue in Columbus for over 10 years now, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be very upfront about this. A lot of people who I know do not want to go to those markets because they are afraid of Muslims. And I'm telling you right now, that is ridiculous, and you are missing out on some of the best food on the planet. You buy this at Salam, before tax, it's $1.59. If you go to your gourmet food market, you'll be paying $4 to $6 for it. And I have never been blown up or threatened by anybody when I've gone there. I would like to encourage everybody to visit your local foreign markets to see what kind of ingredients, including teas. This is a Ceylon Earl Grey that they sell. I got 100 tea bags for $5.29 there. And they do have the loose teas also. They also have a bakery in there. And I got this home-baked pita bread that was fresh off the press today. And I had my tuna salad with it for lunch before I started this video. I have gone shopping there in Daisy Duke shorts and tank tops, and I was treated just as nicely as I was when I'm wearing something conservative. I've shopped with women wearing the head covering. I've also shopped with women wearing burqas that you could only see their eyes, and everybody treats everybody exactly as nicely no matter what you're wearing. So go shop at Salam. Now, this calls for hard-boiled egg yolks, and you can peel the white off that and feed that to the dog, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So you mash your egg yolks with... You do 4 hard-boiled egg yolks, 5 teaspoons orange flower water. I use tablespoons, so I'm going to have to measure it out. Glad I checked. Yep, teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which leaves me more than I thought I had. Okay, so mash those together. Make a nice fine paste out of that. It's coming together very nicely. That smells really interesting. You wanna have that perfectly smooth and fine like a paste and completely incorporated before you put anything else in there. There we go. Next, we do sugar. This is my little sugar bowl that I got at a flea market years ago. This is from Japan, and it's got a little kitty cat on the side. You use 4 to 6 tablespoons, preferably sugar, super fine. I didn't have super fine, so I'm going to start with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to mix that up. This is a nice bright yellow color. So it's a little bit brighter because the orange blossom water had some caramel coloring in it. Okay. Now, when I cook with my butter, I melt it up. so that it's easier to work with. So I'm going to throw that in there. This is 1 stick of butter softened. Okay. And if you're a creep like me, you love raw butter. Okay. Work that in together a little bit. Now, I'm going to bring out the big guns because I want this perfectly smooth. I've never made a frosting like this before. I think it's supposed to be a semi-sweet. I don't know where the Washingtons got their orange flower water from, but Zayat is distributed out of Illinois, and it comes from Lebanon. One of my best friends is from Lebanon. Okay, I'm going to taste this now. It's pretty good. I'm going to use a little more sugar though. Go ahead and use the 5th tablespoon. And I'll mix that up. Well, that cake's starting to rise already. As a matter of fact, since I decided to be a maverick and do it my own way, despite what the instructions said, I'm going to do this. Just in case it spills over, I'm going to slide this underneath the next rack to avert a cooking disaster. Now you notice I was very careful about how I open and close the oven. My mother always told me, don't close any doors or cabinets or open the oven while you're cooking, or the cake would fall. But I have always done that, and I've never had a cake fall. Now what you do with the fairy butter is you put this in the refrigerator, and it can be stored for up to 3 days. We have at least 26 minutes left on the cake, and I'm going to pause, and I'm going to come back when it's all done, and we're going to see how it went. All right, talk to you in a bit. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. The cake has baked, and it took a good 45 minutes. Unfortunately, the center caved in. I'm just going to say the cake has a belly button. I did a little research, and I found that the other recipes called for putting this cake in a 9 or 9.5 by 13-inch pan. I think that's going to be a little bit large, but maybe something a little larger than the 9-inch would work well. I was concerned that it was going to burn, but it did not. They said cool it completely before you eat it. It's about 90% cooled because I threw it in the freezer. I'm just going to slice off a little piece here. See what that looks like there? And it's still smoking warm. So instead of icing it, I'm just going to take my chilled fairy butter. I'm just going to spread some on the top. Now, I like a lot of frosting, so you might not like as much as I like. And then I'm also going to be a real pig. Put a little of this on there too. Right there like that. Now you can be real fancy and throw some strawberries on. I want more fairy butter. Okay. Okay, so this is what this looks like. Take a taste. You're going to see. Oh, wow. See. Oh my goodness. This is very, very exotic, but very, very good. Mm. I like this a lot. Oh my goodness. Well, I did a little bit of research on the Marquis de Lafayette, who this gingerbread was named after, and I did not realize that he was considered an American hero. He was the son of the Marquis, who was Marquis de Lafayette, and his father died when he was 2 years old in a battle. And when this Marquis was 19 years old in 1777, he was sent from France and was appointed as a volunteer major in the Continental Army. He met the father of our country, Mr. George Washington, and they hit it off right away. The Marquis was 19 and Washington was 45, and they he kind of took him under his wing. They maintained a friendship until the end of their days, and the Marquis was so well loved by the Americans that when he died, news of his death reached American shores in 1834. He was 76, and Andrew Jackson was the president then, and he ordered the Marquis to receive the same honors as President Washington himself had received upon his burial in 1799. And this is the wonderful cake that George Washington's mother, or an adaption of it, served to the Marquis. And this is something that I encourage all of you to make. Just use a little bit of a larger pan and make sure to use the rising agents. The fairy butter is wonderful and the orange water is excellent. Throw in a little bit of this. And I hope that you have enjoyed this recipe. This is Eating at April's, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.